Welcome to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping Orange County. With your host, Don Camber.
Hello, live from the OC Talk Radio studios at UCI's Beal Applied Innovation Center. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Don Camber with another great guest impacting our community in a positive way. Today, I welcome the Flora May Foundation founder and CEO Debbie Hansen. The organization's mission is to help families in crisis, and that could include caring for critically ill newborns, problems with teenagers, and abuse in any form. The organization and Debbie herself have won numerous awards, including from the American Business Association, the 2022 Silver Stevie for Organization of the Year, Nonprofit, and Women of the Year. Thank you, Debbie, for being on Impact OC.
It is my pleasure, Dawn. Thank you for having me.
Debbie, please explain how, as the youngest daughter of your mother, Flora May's 9 children, you were inspired to establish the organization and name it after your mother.
My mother's mother was a hospital volunteer for most of her life and almost until she died. So she pretty much set the standard that giving back is expected, something that we all need to do. And obviously my mom agreed with that philosophy because my mother became a hospital volunteer as well. After she had her 9 children, she also volunteered at our schools and all of our classes, and eventually held a full-time job as well. So I started volunteering at Rancho Los Amigos Hospital in Downey when I was 12. And after that, I ventured into the Special Olympics, and I was a relay timer for that organization. And then I went on to Orange County nonprofits, such as Bright Futures for Kids. So an example was set before me, and I didn't set out to found a nonprofit. It wasn't my lifelong dream, but I realized I was good at what I was doing, and especially in procuring donations, in-kind donations, so merchandise. So that's the short story.
Well, let's talk about your mother.
She is a living saint. And she's not my daughter, she's my mother.
She's your mother.
So it's not like I'm talking about my children. She's 95 years old, and she is a delight. She loves to dance, and we take her dancing all over Orange County. It's kind of like being with a rock star wherever we take her. People just love to see her out dancing, and she doesn't rest until she's got everyone pulled up onto the floor. She will single you out and go to your table and motion for you to come, and I have yet to see anyone turn her down. She's just a very magnetic force.
Now explain what your organization does.
The Flora May Foundation, what we do, our mission is helping families in crisis. So if you have children, there could be many crises. It could be a newborn in the NICU, and you've got 4 other kids, and you're living in the hospital, and you have a million things to worry about. Or you could have a child in elementary or grade school, and you have a child who's been severely bullied, or your child is the bullier. And then we get to the adolescent years, and then the problems get a little darker. Truancy, runaways, substance abuse, pot, marijuana. The fentanyl thing right now is off the charts, and awareness is so important. It's vital that parents understand fentanyl could look like chiclets. You know, a few grains of salt is the equivalent of an overdose with fentanyl, and most of the time children are not aware, or kids, teens, they're not aware that's what they're buying if it's through the street, which is where most kids would get their drugs.
So how do you help these families when they have children who may get in contact with what could be fentanyl?
Well, what we've come to find out is that parents are embarrassed about this, that it's not a topic they want to discuss or bring up to their children's parents, their friends, perhaps. and we're a confidential resource for them. So they can call us, and I have yet to receive a call where we were not able to help. And if we don't help, we have partners that can. We don't expect to be, we're not the solution for everyone, but we will help them find the proper solution.
What could the solution be?
Well, it depends on the situation. I will give you an example. Right before COVID happened, I went to go pick up my daughter at the University of Arizona for spring break, taking her home. I got a call while I was there on campus, out of state. I'm not here, right, in Orange County. And this woman's 14-year-old daughter had run away, and she had been gone for 2 days. And I know what that woman went through, not personally, but because I talked her through that time period. But she called us at 1 p.m. on a Monday, and from out of state, between my daughter and I, we were able to locate the runaway girl within 3 hours.
How did you do that?
Social media, computers, internet. We did what the police weren't able to do. And I'm not saying the police weren't helpful. They were in what they could do. But they needed some creative action. And that's what we offered them.
Explain your staff.
I have a great staff and board of directors and volunteers. We're all 100% female. So everybody on our team happens to be a woman. Most of them are mothers and have had their own experience raising children and sometimes running into the problems that we're trying to help other parents through.
So someone calls you with an issue and you figure out how to solve it, whether it could be...
Well, if we can solve it first.
Okay, so if you can't solve it, you try to connect them with an agency that could?
Yes, and that's why it's so important that we partner with other nonprofits that potentially can help those parents. For example, we're not doctors, we're not mental doctors, and in a lot of cases, the issue is going to be an undiagnosed mental illness.
What are the most common issues you deal with in terms of helping people?
I would say it would be teenagers, substance drinking, driving, pot, fentanyl.
How are you able to help?
Well, the first thing I tell parents to do in these cases, when it comes to an unruly teen, is to go to a Billy group meeting, which is, Billy stands for Because I Love You, and it's a parents support group. So it's not for kids. It's just for the parents who are struggling to tighten the reins on their child or children. And I don't know of any parent that hasn't been helped immensely just by even attending one meeting. You're in the same boat. You know, you don't feel so alone. And I remember my first meeting, I felt so much better that night, knowing that next week we were going to pick up where we left off, and it's moderated. So there is somebody who is inserting suggestions or redirecting to another parent who may have had a similar situation.
Did you attend because you were trying to help a client, or did you have a personal reason for yourself?
I did it for myself. I have twin daughters who are no longer teenagers. And it wasn't an easy path all the time. I mean, for the most part it was, but I struggled with their issues, and that's why I went to a Billy meeting. So I found it immensely helpful, and actually the Billy group is one of our partners.
Another thing you can deal with is suicide attempts. How do you handle that?
With suicide attempts, that is something we would definitely sub out, because that's taking on a lot of responsibility. I could give them my 2 cents, but I am not a psychiatrist or a psychologist and not trained to give parents advice on that topic. Like I said, I can give them my feedback.
What made you want to get into this kind of nonprofit organization as opposed to other kinds?
Well, because, like I said, when I was struggling, when my girls were teenagers, I didn't find any resources. I wish I could have talked to someone. I would have loved to have known about an agency like the Flora Foundation. I would have been calling every day. I would have been asking more questions than they probably wanted to answer. So I see that there's definitely a need, and in working with parents so much, especially at CHOC, Children's Hospital of Orange County, we supply baby books to CHOC and have since 2015. They're meant for the siblings of the critically ill newborns. But we've learned that there's other issues going on from the parents. So it's important to listen very closely to what they're saying.
What's your mom's reaction to naming the organization after her?
She just laughs and laughs and laughs and shakes her head. She pretends like she doesn't notice, but she does. She knows, but she's so modest. She just fish, you know.
We want to let people know you have family members who are part of your organization.
I do.
So explain that.
So on our board of directors, my sister Linda Ledford is a member, and my brother John has been very supportive. He shows up to our grant, you know, when you get a big check from a grantor, episodes like that. He's very supportive.
So do you have fundraisers?
Well, we did a shoe drive last year, which was successful, but it doesn't have a high ceiling financially.
So how are you funded?
Well, we get funded through grants. And one thing I did not realize when I started the Flora Foundation is how much time I would spend writing grants. If you've never written a grant, have you ever written a grant before?
Never written a grant.
Okay. It's like writing an essay that you need to get an A on. You have to get that A. And I have that mentality with every single grant application I write. And typically they take a day to write and maybe 2 weeks to perfect, because you're bringing in a lot of data, you know, from other sources to include. But grant writing, I would say I spend at least 50% of my time doing.
So what kind of programs do you provide?
A program that we provide is called Working Women Winning, or WWW. It's a work development program designed for underserved women of any age that want to be prepared for a career. So it's an 8-week program. You receive a certificate upon successful completion. We offer loaner laptops, interview clothing. We offer female CEOs that speak once during the course, at each course. We teach popular business software like the Microsoft Office suite. We teach LinkedIn and how to use it to find your next job. We offer internships if they're wanted, and job placement assistance for up to 1 year after the program ends.
And the purpose of this program is to
get women employed. In 2020, most people don't realize this, but in California, the unemployment rate for women was at an all-time high. It had not been that high since the Great Depression.
So women were in crisis because they couldn't support themselves, and you're offering them a way
Correct.
to get skills so that they can.
Yes, and for those who are afraid that they've been out of the workforce, maybe they've stopped working to raise their children, and they're tentative about going back because they feel like their skills are outdated. We pep those skills. We get them right where they need to be. I mean, we're not training architects here. You know, we're getting them ready for entry-level work. Some students are not entry-level, but we do an assessment in the beginning.
So you have many partnerships. Why don't you name some of them?
Oh, I would love to. A huge shout out to our partner, Girls Inc., which Orange County's Girls Inc., Empower Her Institute, which is in Los Angeles, and also empowers young women to be bold and strong. The Billy Group, Kiva, Santa Claus Inc., Honorary Godparent, and many more.
So when someone needs help, do they just call your organization? Is that how it
Yes.
works? How does that work?
They call in, and people are very open about sharing their problems. I've not had any issues.
So do they leave a
Crying.
message, or how does it work?
Well, we try to pick up 24/7. So we want them to reach a live person when they call, not a recording that says we'll call you back. So at least that's our goal. And I think we do, except for like from 8 p.m. until 6 a.m. Minus those times, you'll get a live person.
Can you give us the number?
Sure.
Go ahead.
949-264-8999.
That number again?
949-264-8999.
Now, is there a website that they can seek help from?
Oh, yes. Our website has an amazing amount of information, and it also gives you information about our partners who, if we can't help you, they can. And it's just good if you're a parent to see who else is out there and what they're doing that could help you. A lot of people would be benefiting from this information if they knew. So our website is www.thefloramayfoundation.org.
And you should spell Flora.
Okay. Flora. So thefloramayfoundation.org.
And if people want to help you, what can they do?
Donate. Please go to our website. We accept PayPal, Visa, MasterCard, American Express, Venmo, and Zelle.
What about volunteers?
We always welcome new volunteers, and we've been so fortunate to we truly do have amazing volunteers. But I would love to have more women on our team that are passionate about the kind of content that we've been discussing about, helping parents get through these tough times. It does take a toll on parents, and we all know it takes a village to raise children.
So what are the requirements to be a volunteer?
Well, since we're all female, I guess it would help to be a female.
Okay.
And once again, to have that passion to help others. And if you're a parent, that's great, but you don't have to be a parent. We have many college interns that volunteer for us as well. And all of our volunteers receive a blue button-down shirt we wear for events, and a lot of other perks as well.
So do you see this organization growing in any form or fashion?
I do. We're planning on taking Working Women Winning statewide by 2025 and to go national by 2027. So fingers crossed, if my grant writing and grant applications are successful, we will meet our target.
Now, are the teenagers responsive to the help that you provide?
No. I don't know too many who would be, but once they age out, then they are. Then they're grateful. Do you see what I'm saying? So if we're dealing with a 15-year-old right now, by the time they're 21, they're looking at us in a positive light, not so much as a threat, like you're exposing me to my parent type of scenario.
So objectively speaking, you can see how your organization is making an impact on people.
Absolutely. What we struggle with is awareness, letting parents know that we exist and that we are. The whole purpose of setting up this foundation was to be a resource to parents that don't know what to do about their child that they're struggling with, that may be, addicted to alcohol, drugs, or whatever it is, whatever the substance may be.
How are you able to publicize your organization so that people can know about you?
Well, we have a Facebook page. The Flora May Foundation is what you would look up. LinkedIn. We have an Instagram account, and I believe that's about it. I do still do paper ads, print ads in Orange County publications as well.
Thank you, the Flora May Foundation founder and CEO Debbie Hansen, for being on Impact OC, and I thank everyone for tuning in. I'm OC Talk Radio Public Affairs Director Dawn Camber. Have an impactful day.
You've been listening to Impact OC, the only program showcasing the people and organizations shaping our community. Right here on Orange County's only community radio station, OC Talk Radio.